No, before you mentioned it, I was going to actually mention that as an example as
Yeah.
well. I mean, I think that was Julian's third or fourth fight. He had, I don't want to say easy knockouts because he looked impressive and it's not like a few of those other fights even before that. He had fought some guys that we at least expected to test him in some ways. It just didn't pan out that
Yeah,
way. But
Julian was actually 6-0 with 6 KOs, and Jimenez was 7-1, and a good Cuban fighter on top of that. So, uh, but he got the draw, and he got the draw, and he learned from it. So we have to see, it's all about developing your fighter, and sometimes they don't see that. They rather, some of them, like you had mentioned, Jesse. Some of them just want that. Oh no, when I'm 16-0, I'll be ready to step it up. But do you know that when you're 16-0, it's going to cost me X amount of more dollars? So, and really, are you really going to be ready for a step up? So that's the difference. Then you see guys like Paul Crow, who's 10-0, who just fought somebody 16-1. So it's there's and the reason why Paul Crow can fight those level fights. Paul Crow also has a win over Santa Maria, who was probably like 18-2 or something at the time, and Paul Crow was like 8-0. But
well, and
he
Paul also
had a big
ha,
amateur background.
but he also has the win over the New Jersey kid early in his career, who I'm blanking on the name.
Yeah, yeah, I know. Shinard Bunch.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But those are developmental fights, and we need more of that today, so that we, the small promoters who don't have the big bank accounts, uh, know whether or not whether what we have is a true fighter, someone who can become a world champion, or someone who's just looking to look good in front of their hometown fans and say that they were a boxer with an undefeated record. That's not something that we want at King's Promotions. We want fighters who can eventually grow to become a world champion.
And I think the most important reason that we need those kind of fights is because we need to draw general sports fans who might like boxing to come to our events, and not just friends and family of individual fighters, which
Right.
is, another thing. And I don't think anybody, locally or regionally puts on the kind of shows consistently that King's Promotions puts on, but we still struggle. I mean, we still struggle with this, in terms of drawing general fans and selling tickets to the fight when people aren't buying them sort of through the individual fighters. But if you look around at what kind of constitutes professional boxing matchups in a lot of places, I wouldn't blame people for not wanting to buy tickets. And so it's a challenge and it's a struggle. And I think to turn it around, people need to know that they can, when they go to a professional boxing match, it's not different than if they go to a minor league baseball game or something like that. They can still expect professional level competition, for the money that they're paying.
Yeah, and I think you guys are getting that reputation built up of putting on fights that are always competitive and people are going to be entertained. They're not looking at one side of the corner and betting every time that the guy in the blue is going to win or the guy in the red's going to win every single time, like most shows.
Hmm.
And Marshall, like you were saying, one of the things I learned from Brad Goodman and Bruce Trampler is it's about finding the right guy. They just always say, find the right guy.